We're going to look at some organic chemistry and naming of organic compounds. So the first rule when we are naming an organic compound is to look for the longest continuous carbon chain. So we look for the longest continuous carbon chain. So we're going to look at this first example here and see if we can find the longest chain. So if I look at the straight chain here on the left, I would have carbon, 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 that is three carbons in my chain. But if I continue the chain to the bottom, I would now have 4 carbons in that chain. And that would be the longest chain that I could get. I could even have taken it upwards, but I cannot go up and down. I have to take one continuous carbon chain like that. So once you've identified your longest continuous carbon chain, we look at whether the carbon-carbon chain is made up of single, double, or triple bonds. So we can see that there are single bonds. So that tells us that the name ends in ane. Ane from the alkanes. And the alkane's identifying feature is the single bond between carbons. So now we're going to count the number of carbons. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, and the prefix we use for 4 is but. So the main name would be butane. But now that we have circled our longest continuous carbon chain, we can see that we have some branches hanging. We have a CH3 branch, and we have another CH3 branch. And it's important to know that a CH3 branch is called a methyl. So I have 2 methyl branches. So 2 methyls, we use the prefix di. So we say that this is dimethylbutane, but now we need to tell them, we need to specify on which carbons our methyls are substituted. So we count, if I use this as carbon number 1 and that is carbon number 2, this will be 3 and that will be 4. So we are numbering the carbons in our longest continuous carbon chain. Then we can see there's a methyl on number 2 and a methyl on number 3. If I count from the other side, then this is number 1, this is number 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So my methyls are still on number 2 and number 3. So in this case, it does not matter which side I number from. Both would give me the same numbering. Remember, from the IUPAC rules, we try to get the lowest possible numbers. So numbers are separated with commas. So then 2, 3. And numbers and words are separated by a dash. So the name is 2,3-dimethylbutane, and that is how we would name this compound. Okay, so looking at the second example, we're going to follow the same method. We're going to look for the longest continuous carbon chain, and we can see that in this case it's a straight chain with 4 carbons. So the main name, the prefix of the main name would be but because of the 4 carbons, and we see single bonds between the carbons. So again, it's from the alkanes and the name ends in ane, so butane. And then also from the chain, we see that this is not a pure hydrocarbon. So it does not only consist of carbons and hydrogens, but we see a chlorine atom and another chlorine atom. So this is actually a haloalkane, also known as an alkyl halide. So when we are naming haloalkanes, in this case there's a chlorine. The chlorine takes the prefix chloro. And because there are 2 chlorines, we use the prefix di. So the name is dichloro. Dichloro tells us that there are 2 chlorine atoms. Now we need to show the position of the chlorine atoms. If I number from the right-hand side, then both chlorines are on carbon number 3. But if I number from the left-hand side, then both chlorine atoms are on carbon 2. And remember, the rule from the IUPAC naming system is to always try to use the lowest possible numbers. So both chlorines are on number 2. So we say 2, comma 2, showing that both are on number 2. A comma to separate numbers. So 2, comma 2 dash dichlorobutane. Numbers are separated by commas and numbers and words separated by a dash. I hope you found this useful. Please like and subscribe if you did, and please remember to share this video with your friends so that more people can benefit from these lessons.